let's talk about Robert Whittaker, guys. We talked about Israel Adesanya and the amazing talent that he is, quite possibly the biggest star in the UFC. Let's just stop for a second and talk about Robert Whittaker, man. Robert Whittaker, a guy that has had some of the most terrible luck in his career so far. A guy that came off of a fight with Yoel Romero, breaks his hand in the third round, keeps fighting, wins the fight, has to pull out of a fight against Kelvin Gastelum with a hernia the day of because he's throwing up, puking on the floor, gets to the hospital, still wants to go to the arena and fight. You want to talk about a guy that is tough as nails? It's Robert Whittaker. And coming into this fight, Robert Whittaker had the pressure of the world on his shoulders. That his entire country, 57,000 people in attendance, but the entire country behind him. And the man made the walk. He brought the fight to Israel Adesanya. Wasn't enough. And you really get to see what a champion's made of. And I know this is made up, a lot of people are talking about this, but you really get to see what a champion is made of when things aren't going so well. And this is in life, guys. This is in life. This is everybody. Because everybody can have it together. Everybody can go out and put a smile on when things are great and nothing's wrong and everything's in your house is paid off and your kids are in school and they're making good grades and you've got all the stuff you could ever want. Everybody can smile and be a good guy then. But Robert Whittaker is the living embodiment of what a champion, a gentleman, a leader, a role model is. And while everybody's paying attention to Israel Adesanya, and he deserves it, he deserves all the credit for what he's done. He deserves all the accolade, all the media attention, all the attention from fans. He deserves that. But do not forget about the other guy, because it takes two to tango, and Robert Whittaker showed in defeat the champion that he was for those 9 to 10 fights, and really for the entirety of his life. Because after the fight, after getting knocked out, John Adik comes over to him. They give him a microphone, which I don't necessarily like, but they did. And Robert thanks the crowd for coming out. Says that, he's only 28, thought he had some good moments, and he would hopefully see Israel in a fight or two, and that he was not going anywhere. That was great, classy, of course, as always. But then, and there's a locker room post-fight interview where Robert Whittaker, again, thanks everyone for coming out. Says Israel was the better guy that night. Says he got caught. And says, and it's almost weird the way it went about. And Ariel Helwani said this too. He said, you guys can stick around for a little bit if you want during his interview backstage. Well, he's talking to the cameraman, but it almost, like, poetically seems like he's talking to fans. Like, you guys can stick around if you want. I'm not going anywhere. As if to say, MMA fans are sort of fickle in that way, where they see a guy who's a champion, he doesn't really move the needle as far as the entertainment value goes outside of the fight. And here's the fresh new thing with Israel Adesanya. But like I said, it's really easy to be the guy that, thanks everyone and takes all the pictures and does all the interviews when things are going well. And we see this all the time. But Robert Whittaker is just, like I said, the embodiment of what a champion is. I know he lost. He didn't have the right punches and the right kicks. But I'll tell you this, man. Robert Whittaker has the right mindset. That guy is a champion. Kids, if you're watching, strive to be like Israel Adesanya. Strive to do things that you never thought were possible. Set goals that people think are unreachable, right? And get there. But if you're watching as a kid, take a look at Robert Whittaker as well. Do everything you can to be like that guy. Of course, try to be like Israel. Of course, try to be the champion of the world. But sometimes the champion doesn't always hold the belt. And Robert Whittaker, whether he's got one or not, that dude's a champion. And I'm sure he'll be back.